and every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that,
well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Tyrus, I was talking about this in the 5, that I kind of like her for being, she's like a retro 70s mom.
Yeah, you like
Everyone looked like her.
Why don't you have dinner with her, Greg?
Tyrus just did the unthinkable. He went after California's very own PowerPoint queen, Katie Porter. The man built like a tank just stormed into the wild world of California politics like it's his personal WrestleMania. But why is a wrestling champ suddenly roasting a politician known for her dramatic whiteboard takedowns? Did someone forget to invite him to the debate? This showdown of brute strength versus boardroom markers is about to get outrageously entertaining.
Don't order the potatoes, Greg.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, there's nothing nice about her. Why do we have to, like, in her defense, I was waiting for the practical, usual woman defense. Whenever someone, why did you do that? Why do you, well, they did something to upset me. It was somebody else's fault. There's no accountability, nothing new. So, yeah, you didn't like that, did you, ladies? Because you guys do that stuff. But the worst part about her is that she, like, it's Halloween, and she's coming out now.
Yeah.
Before we dive deeper, hit that like button and subscribe, because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. California politics has always been a carnival of chaos, but this time the ringmaster showed up in a power blazer with a glare sharp enough to cut through solar panels. Katie Porter, the self-proclaimed champion of accountability, somehow managed to twist that very word into a full-blown hostage situation. It's dramatic, it's wild, and it's only getting started.
Scary. Oh, it's scary. Like, if she jumped out of a dark alley, I would throw you in front of me to get away from her. And she's done this before. She has scared everybody in this audience in our childhood. Remember Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah.
When he was on the road in Texas, Large Marge rolled up? It was that one right there. Kennedy's having a flashback.
I said that the other day on the 5.
Yes.
Just when she thought she was waltzing straight into the governor's mansion, Tyrus entered the scene, and the whole political circus suddenly had its bouncer. It started off innocent enough. 5 people chatting over coffee, probably wondering which California disaster to joke about next: wildfires, gas prices, or the great mystery of affordable rent. But when Tyrus joined in, the atmosphere shifted fast, like the calm before a storm about to hit Hollywood Boulevard.
Play that. This is what she's trying to say.
President Biden has said that inflation is the #1 priority for the Biden White House to try to get under control right now. As you're out there in California talking to constituents during this re-election year for Congress, how does inflation compare to this newly important, in the sense of the Supreme Court decision pending, abortion issue? How do those 2 issues compare?
Watch this, not compare.
Well, I don't think they compare. I think they actually reinforce each other.
Watch.
So
Then someone mentioned Katie Porter, and suddenly the mood flipped from casual morning chatter to full-on Halloween special. In an instant, Tyrus and Greg Gutfeld transformed into caffeine-fueled psychiatrists, diagnosing a political ghost. One joked she looked like a retro 70s mom, while the other claimed she had reverse charisma. And that's when America collectively realized something hilarious. Politics really is just pro wrestling with fancier lighting and better microphones.
Hate. You love to hate. Our video of the day comes from that lump of grumpy potatoes, Katie Porter, who wants to be California's next governor. She was recently asked if more damning clips of her might be released, which is like asking Jesse Waters if he's offended any foreigners lately. She refused to say.
Should California voters feel confident that there aren't any more Katie Porter videos out there?
well, what I know is that I could have done better in those moments. I'm going to be focused on earning their votes and earning their trust.
But Tyrus barely needed words to make his point. The look on his face said everything. Half disbelief, half, I've fought men twice my size and still found this woman scarier. Because let's face it, Katie Porter doesn't just walk into a room. She storms in like a strict substitute teacher, ready to cancel recess for the entire nation. You can practically hear the chalk screeching as she launches into another sermon about morality and economics. California didn't need a governor. It needed a guidance counselor with a warning bell and anger management. And that's what made Tyrus's call-out so priceless. It wasn't personal. It was a public service announcement. Someone had to remind her that leadership shouldn't feel like detention. Greg Gutfeld, never one to miss poetic chaos, threw in his reverse charisma diagnosis, and the crowd lost it. Because when charm works backward, it doesn't win hearts. It clears rooms.
Me of
Bueller
my
ball breaker
friends'
from the
mothers
Porkies.
when I was a kid. There's like something very retro about her. But Molly, you know what she has? She has reverse charisma. You know, like when charisma is if you have power and empathy. Because people are like Bill Clinton, he had power, but he had empathy, and then he tried to bang you. She has like reverse empathy where she has power, but she lords it over the people that are in her like employment.
And what's so weird about this is she's a politician. And you might think they're cruel and narcissistic, and she's like definitely showing that, but usually they're good at like hiding it.
Picture this. Porter walks into a diner, and instantly everyone remembers they're late for an appointment. That's reverse charisma in action. Her campaign ad plays, and even her biggest fans switch to the Weather Channel just to feel joy again. Greg's diagnosis was meant as humor, but it landed with shocking precision, because that's exactly what makes Porter so intriguing. She's got all the power, credentials, and fury, yet none of the warmth. It's like watching a Hallmark movie directed by Quentin Tarantino. Every scene a showdown, every smile a warning. He didn't need stats or talking points. His words hit harder than a body slam. It's the irony of accountability. Those who preach it loudest often dodge it fastest. Porter's favorite move. Pulling out her emergency whiteboard to explain why it's always someone else's fault. This isn't politics. It's performance art gone rogue. Every scandal turns into a pop quiz, and somehow she's always the teacher grading her own paper with extra red ink.
She ought to just embrace it at this point, because it's all out there. She should just say, look, I throw mashed potatoes at people. I'm a total nightmare. I berate my staff, but I'm going to work hard for you, the voter, because there's no getting out from this.
What are the chances of Katie Porter actually winning and becoming the governor of California?
If she's the Democratic nominee, because of the way that the registered voters are and what they appear to be showing, it's about 85%, 90% right now.
Irony never tasted this good. Here's a woman running in a state that preaches diversity of thought, yet functions like a political HOA with a dress code. One party rules everything, and the only thing scarier than the taxes is the silence from the opposition. Tyrus nailed it. California has turned into an echo chamber so loud it drowns out reason. Candidates don't need charisma or ideas anymore. They just need to chant equity 3 times and poof, the media appears like Beetlejuice with a microphone. Porter didn't just thrive in that system, she was practically engineered for it. Why win hearts when the deck's already stacked in your favor? But comfort breeds arrogance, and that's when her meltdown hit. The viral moment where she admitted, with that irritated DMV tone, that she didn't exactly adore those who voted differently. Tyrus's roast hit like lightning. It wasn't cruel, it was genius. He exposed the truth. Porter doesn't even pretend to be likable anymore. It's like her campaign slogan is, "Go on, I dare you to like me."
What I do know is that I could have done better in that situation.
But that's not a no. So is there potentially another video that we're going to see?
Nikki, I'm going to be honest with you. I know that video, and that video was several years ago, as you know, and I apologize to the staffer. That's super important to me, and will continue to try to hold myself to do better. That's what I can promise.
The more a politician refuses to answer a question.
Somewhere out there, her campaign strategist must be sweating bullets, because empathy still beats intimidation in every poll. Yet California voters are a rare breed. They say they want compassion, then turn around and elect people who look like they'd fine you for breathing too loud. Greg twisted the knife with flair, comparing her to past politicians who at least pretended to care. Clinton showed empathy, Obama radiated charm, Reagan had warmth, and even Trump cracked a joke now and then. But Porter? Her leadership feels like punishment wrapped in policy. She lectures, corrects, interrupts, and dominates, but never, ever connects. You could line up 10 California voters and ask how she makes them feel, and 9 would say nervous, while the 10th would start apologizing automatically. Tyrus joked, "She looks like she'd leap out of a dark alley on Halloween." But honestly, that's not a stretch. That's branding. If she doesn't win, Governor Spirit Halloween might just have a corner office waiting for her.
These examples of Katie Porter's behavior, accusations of blaming staff for giving her COVID, using racist language, covering up sexual harassment, domestic violence against her ex-husband. She was even accused of burning his scalp with potatoes. Ouch. And others saying she just wants fame and power. Gotta be nice to that staff. All accusations at this point, but there seems to be a pattern of alleged physical and verbal abuse.
And the nostalgia factor made the whole thing even funnier. That retro 70s mom comment hit home because it's painfully accurate. Porter gives off major bedtime for democracy vibes. She's got that vintage PTA energy that screams, "I'm not mad, just disappointed." But deep down, you know she's both. You can almost hear the funky 1976 soundtrack rolling in as the lights dim. Even Kennedy couldn't resist joining the fun, reminiscing like she'd just seen a ghost straight out of a Pee Wee Herman fever dream. Picture her campaign ad, grainy black and white film, thunder rumbling, her face appearing in the rearview mirror, shouting, "Don't litter or else." The Fives panel turned into a full-on roast battle that could have sold tickets. But underneath the laughter, they struck a nerve. The truth that Porter is a symptom of a one-party system where competition dies and entitlement thrives.
I will say I think that her performance here proves that she's ready for the national stage.
Yes.
She took control of the interview the way she'll take control of our nation's problems. No, I don't believe that, but I do believe that that is what everyone on her staff told her.
Yeah.
I think that she's walking around being like, I nailed this. Because if that is how she acts on camera, when she knows she's being recorded, then how do you think she acts off camera if someone actually criticizes her?
That's what made Tyrus's jab so refreshing. It wasn't the typical talking head nonsense. He's not pretending to be some policy guru. He's the everyman calling out absurdity in its purest form. Watching him dismantle Porter's carefully crafted persona felt like finally hearing someone admit that the Emperor's new clothes were bought with taxpayer money. Greg, ever the cynic, joined in perfectly, peeling back every phony layer with surgical precision. Together, they turned what could have been a dull debate into a live therapy session for everyone sick of California's political theater. Their roast also exposed a sad truth. Modern progressives have completely lost their sense of humor. Somewhere between climate pledges and endless lectures, the ability to laugh just vanished. Porter acts like a stand-up comic who thinks sarcasm is oppression. She doesn't want voters to like her, she just wants them to obey. That's the punchline Tyrus nailed. He wasn't mocking her looks. He was mocking a culture that rewards coldness and calls it leadership. And somehow, California keeps falling for it, again and again.
So the campaign manager for Katie Porter allegedly told her, "You looked bad the other night." She said, "You mean the interview?" And he said, "What interview?"
Just imagine that attitude on a national scale. A leader who mistakes kindness for weakness and treats disagreement like disobedience. You'd get exactly what the Five described. A powerhouse with zero empathy. Someone who doesn't uplift people but lectures them like a disappointed teacher. To her, voters aren't citizens. They're students who didn't finish their homework. That's what made the roast so sharp. It wasn't random mockery, it was a mirror held up to modern politics, exposing how cold and mechanical it's become. And Porter, with all her fiery drive, walked straight into it like it was her stage. Greg's reverse charisma theory could be an entire thesis on today's political weirdness. Meanwhile, Tyrus's deadpan delivery summed up what millions think but rarely dare to say. Even the Halloween comparison fit perfectly. Every election season, Porter reappears like a ghost, haunting optimism itself. You can practically picture kids trick-or-treating as her, shouting, "Look, Mom, I'm the spirit of unrealized accountability. Scariest costume on the block. No contest."
The fact that things like inflation can happen and it can become more expensive to feed your kids and to fuel your car
Have an abortion.
is exactly why people need to be able to be in charge of how many mouths they're going to have to feed. So I think the fact that we're seeing this jump in expenses,
Am I taking crazy pills?
that we're seeing people having to pay more in the grocery store,
said.
pay more at the pump,
Can
pay more
you stop
for
it? Guys, you
housing.
understand that? She's saying, guys, listen, and this is during Biden, right? She's like, groceries are going to be expensive, so if you're pregnant, that should be a reason for you to kill the baby in your...
And then came the inevitable Trump comparison, because of course there was. She's clearly trying to channel his bold, unapologetic confidence, but without the spark that makes it bearable. When Trump says something wild, half the country laughs, and the other half screams. But when Porter does it, everyone just quietly shuts their laptops and sighs. Being bold only works when people actually enjoy watching you do it. Otherwise, it's just televised scolding dressed up as leadership. That's the big difference. Trump entertains, Porter enforces. One plays to the crowd, the other punishes it. And in 2025, that might be more revolutionary than any new policy pitch. The funniest part? Porter will almost certainly double down. She'll cry sexism, dismiss every joke, and hold another town hall to remind everyone how deadly serious she is. The cycle never ends. Outrage, denial, PowerPoint, and repeat.
I cannot stop thinking about Katie Porter. The dumbest thing she can do is what she tried to do in that interview with Julie Watts, where she plasters this miserable, pained, fake smile on her face. Like, I don't want this to get negative. I just want this to be positive because I'm such a good person. I'm a leader. I'm a strong leader.
Meanwhile, California keeps spiraling deeper into chaos. Housing costs through the roof, crime brushed off as normal, and politicians still arguing over plastic bags like it's a national crisis. Maybe that's why Tyrus's words hit like a thunderclap. He wasn't just roasting Porter, he was calling out the entire circus of California politics. Her campaign promises empathy, but her tone screams detention hall. The Five, with their perfect blend of chaos and comedy, turned that contradiction into pure gold. The irony was almost poetic, a wrestler and a satirist teaming up to expose the emotional black hole inside modern liberal politics. Beneath the laughter was something cold, real, and impossible to ignore. Porter's ambition isn't the issue, it's her attitude. She wants to lead but refuses to connect. She craves authority, not approval. And in the long run, that's the real charisma killer. Faster than any scandal, sharper than any headline.
Be the Democrat nominee. And then from there, you just look at the voting. And by the way, I think it's close. I think the Republican candidate crosses 40, which would be unusual. But I would see, what if you see like a 57-41-3, because Green Libertarian? You see something like that, suddenly you realize that there's a shift.
Every time California voters see another Katie Porter ad, they won't just see a candidate. They'll see the ghost of Large Marge herself, the living symbol of every unwanted lecture they've ever endured. They'll hear the faint echo of Tyrus's voice, whispering that leadership without warmth is just power in disguise. Greg's reverse charisma theory will haunt their minds every time she scolds instead of inspires. In a state once known for dreaming big, maybe laughter is the rebellion it desperately needs. Because sometimes, simply calling things out doesn't just expose hypocrisy, it restores balance. Katie Porter wanted to rule California with fiery conviction, but instead, she handed the nation a reason to laugh out loud. Maybe that's the ultimate punchline. Never pick a fight with someone who lands better punchlines than policies.